by the time I said he's Casper, now he was already 4 or 5 people down, bro, from me. And bro, he's quite a dark skinned fella too, and he just went pale as, and he just looked at me like, did he really say that? And my mates, bro, they almost died. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Sorry, they almost. Sorry.
Casper. And with him not knowing the context of my answer, I was like, yeah, but he's Casper now.
Tell us up about
Sure, brother, how's it?
that. How much of a hassle was that?
Oh, bro.
Two tech wizards.
Yeah, the wizards going at it.
How's the ISO, bro?
Yeah, nah, it's not too bad, bro. And life hasn't really changed much for me actually, because I'm still working. I work at Māori Television, do the news there. So yeah, I'm still like getting out of the house and going to work every day. So it's
What do you do for them?
So at the moment, I'm just translating. So I translate the news every night, or Monday to Thursday. It's supposed to be Monday to Friday, but they've split us up into the blue team and the red team, just in case someone gets contracts the virus.
Oh,
yeah. And if one person from a team contracts it, like everyone has to be pulled off the show. So like we're in 2 separate bubbles at Mahi.
Oh yeah, man. I see you got a bit of a gym set up as well at home.
Yeah,
Is that
bro.
at home?
Yeah. What's that?
Is that at home?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Last June, I had a pretty bad concussion and couldn't go to the gym for about 3 or 4 months. So I bought a bit of equipment just to help with some recovery stuff, just to get back before going back to the gym. Yeah, and lucky because I was just about to sell it too. I was gonna sell it, but yeah, no one wanted to buy it. But yeah, after the ISO, everyone was hitting me up.
What's a day in the ISO look like for you, bro?
So I'll get up, bro, do some training. Like I've been training quite a bit, like because I have so much time in the morning. I'll train for maybe like 2 or 3 hours. Not high intensity. I'll just do bit of training in the morning, have a kai, and then from about lunchtime to 2 or 3, I'll be making some TikToks. So I'll jump in, just write down some ideas, or jump in the truck, tell some stories. And then at about 3 o'clock, I head into Māori TV and then work till about 7, 8 o'clock, and then that's pretty much my day, bro.
Mean, bro. Do you just want to introduce yourself to those that might not know you?
Yeah, bro. Tēnā koutou, ko ikurangi te maunga, ko waiapu te awa, Ngāti Porou te iwi, ko te whānau rua taupare, te hapu, te aorere pē whairangi tōku ingoa. My name's Te Aorere pē whairangi, but you might know me as Te Ao_P or Casper. Like I said, I work at Māori Television, but more recently I just started a TikTok account. It's got a bit of traction, and the bro hit me up to jump on the podcast.
Is Māori your first language?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so grew up for the first 17 years of my life. So from the time I was 6 weeks old till the time I left high school, I went to this Māori school called Mana Tamariki, bro. And so it was pretty strict school there. One of the rules was you had to start at the kohanga. So as a baby, you had to start at the school. You couldn't go to another school and then come over to our school.
Really?
Yeah, bro. And one parent had to only speak Māori to the kids at home. But unfortunately, or some would say unlucky, but both my parents spoke Māori to me, so I didn't start learning English formally until I was year 9 at high school. So and that's where most of some of my stories come from. The old year 9 journal. I remember when we first started, bro, it was cat, mat, hat. That's what I was learning to read and write, bro. At,
In year
about
9.
in year 9, age 13, bro. In New Zealand, like I remember this one time we went to my brother and I went to the pools. He was about 13 and I was about 10, and so I couldn't speak English and he could speak a little bit of English. We went to this lady, to the lady at the counter, and he bought us 2 Hydroslide bands. We wanted to go on the Hydroslide, and my brother was like, "Oh, thank you." And then she chucked my one on, bro, and she goes to me, "Thank you." And I looked at my brother, like, to help me out. He was like, "Nah, bro, you got this." Like, she's pretty much telling you what to say. And then she goes again, "Thank you." And then I looked at her, I was like, "Nah, yeah, I got this." And I reckon, "Oh, you're welcome." So, like, heaps of encounters like that, bro. Like, yeah, a lot of people, it's a very unique upbringing.
Yeah.
You don't really hear a lot of people not being able to speak English in New Zealand. But yeah, that was my upbringing, bro.
Well, it's funny. I was actually just talking to my missus and her mum last night about this, bro. Like how it's not that common for people to be speaking te reo like normally in New Zealand, like as their first language when this is our country, as opposed to like you get the Samoans and the Tongans and all the islanders, they're all speaking it, like all the time. Like that's their first language here, yet Māori is like sort of lost.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And like this is kind of what I studied at university, and it just comes through like colonization and legislation put in by the government, like the Māori Schools Act, the Tohunga Suppression Act. Like back in the day, in my dad's generation and my grandfather's generation, they were hit at school for speaking Māori. So,
wow.
Like I remember my old man saying to me, he could understand Māori because all his parents and grandparents, they spoke Māori to each other, but they only spoke English to him because if he went to school and spoke Māori, he would get hit by the teachers. Yeah, my old man, I remember he spoke Māori this one time, and he goes, "Oh, go to your next teacher and tell him to give you the cane for a smack." He goes to the teacher and he's like, "Oh, Mrs. So-and-so told me to come to get the cane off you." And then the teacher grabs my old man's hand, slaps it, and then he was like, "Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I mean just to grab the cane off you so that teacher could hit me." So he got hit twice, bro.
Oh,
yeah, so like it's kind of a result of legislation and acts put towards Māori to oppress and suppress the language. But more recently, we've seen a lot of language revitalization strategies. Like I guess I'm a product of Kohanga Reo, Kura Kaupapa, Wharekura, and even like in the rugby mainstream, it's kind of becoming more normal. You see, like I saw TJ Perenara the other day talking about it. Adam Blair, bro, with the New Zealand Māoris, he opened his speech up with Māori. Nehe, bro, Milner Skara, Oti Black. So there's been a resurgence and a bit of a revitalization of the language in the last few years.
Yeah.
And it's become cool again to be able to speak Māori.
Yeah, mean, bro. And you have a bit of a footy background, eh?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so grew up in Palmerston North. Grew up playing rugby, and I mentioned my older brother before. He was a few years older than me. When he was about 14, bro, he played for the East Coast at a league tournament. He never played rugby league before, but he went pretty good, and the Newcastle Knights offered him a scholarship with them, and he went on to captain the under-20s team. So he was in their system for about 6 years there. But as soon as they gave him a scholarship. They sent him all these gears. As soon as I saw the gears, bro, I was like, oh, nah, that's it. I'm switching from rugby to league. So from about age 12 onward, bro, yeah, I played rugby league. Fortunate enough to be signed by the Parramatta Eels in 2012 for SG Ball. Went over there for a year. I didn't do too well, to be honest. So my brother sent me back to Auckland to play for Point Chev.
Yep.
Top side. I was quite young at the time, about 18, and we had a pretty good team too. We had there was 5 of us, 5 young 18-year-olds in the team. It was, I remember in pre-season, it was Nate Roach. He was playing 5'8". Bunty Afua, Toff Sipley, they were all there. And this fella, Machu, Love Henry. 3 of them went on to play in our Machu. I think he played a bit of New South Wales Cup, and I think he's in Q Cup now. But that year in 2014, halfway through the season, I got a bad head injury, bro.
Yeah.
I got a bad concussion. I lost my vision for a few hours, and it took about 18 months to fully recover from all the symptoms of that. So if I haven't played, and then the doctor said, nah, because you're not recovering quick enough, he said, yeah, hang up the boots. And I've only played touch ever since then, which kind of helps with that itch. Don't get itchy.
Yeah. How did it happen, bro? How did you get knocked out?
So I was just carrying the ball, bro, stepped in, and someone just hit me with the clothesline of doom.
Oh.
And then, I wasn't knocked out cold, bro. I've had a few concussions, bad ones, but I've never been knocked out cold. And this fella just clotheslined me. I got up. I had blurry vision. The way I explain it is that when you come out of or when you open your eyes in the pool, that's kind of what my vision looked like. And then I told the trainer, I was like, bro, I can't see anything. He was like, oh, just stay on. There's 15 minutes until the half. So I stayed on for another 15 minutes. I remember I had a couple more carries as well. And then they pulled me at halftime. I started vomiting and stuff. And then, it took about 18 months to fully recover from that. And I'm kind of content with the decision not to go back, bro. I would have wished that on my worst enemy.
100%,
that stuff and that recovery.
So you moved away from footy and you started studying, PhD?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing now. Doing my PhD. But it was kind of the concussion, bro. That kind of changed my course. I remember it was maybe about 1 month after the initial knock. I was sent to all these specialists, and then I went to see this neurologist in Green Lane, bro. And he did this 3-hour exam. I remember I just felt nauseous, had the meanest headaches. I had sensitivity to light, sensitivity to sound. I was 19, bro, but my mum had to take me there. I was just so sick. And he gave me this 3-hour test, bro. And one part of it was a memory test. And I remember he read out 16 different things for me to memorize. So he would read some 16 things, and then I'd have to try and memorize them and say as many back to him as I could. And he did it 5 times, bro. And I remembered all 16 every time. And then he was like, I've never ever seen any results like this, especially even on a normal person who's not going through a concussion. He said, your memory is in the top 0.2% or some real low number. As your memory is in the top 2% of the healthy population. And he asked my mum, have you ever noticed this? And my mum said, from the time I was 5 right up until I was 17, bro, at this kura kaupapa, at this Māori school that I went to. We had to recite 2 whakapapa, so genealogy lines,
Okay.
or 2 more teatea, which were like old traditional songs,
Yep.
and 1 in the afternoon. So we had to memorize 2 things in the morning, 1 in the afternoon for year after year. And she said this to the neurologist, and he was like, oh, yeah. That's trained your son to have a photographic memory. So I was like, oh, that's pretty helpful. I never really knew until he kind of told me. And then I was like, oh, that's pretty helpful because I want to pick up some study.
Yep.
And then I was at Massey University doing my undergraduate at the time. And it was pretty handy to have a photographic memory to go through like all these tests, bro. I remember like, would have like 100 multi-choice quiz as our 3-hour exam, and the night before I'd just read through the last 5 years or the last 5 exams or tests that were given out. I'd memorize all the answers. I'd go the next day, bro, and like I'd just regurgitate everything and like get like pretty good numbers. And so from the concussion, I kind of figured out that, oh, okay, I have another gift in terms of this academic stuff. And from that, I've done, an undergraduate. I graduated with my master's last year at the University of Waikato. Fortunate enough to get first class honours there. And then I've gone back to Massey this year, and I'm doing my PhD. So it's kind of all been a flow-on effect from my first concussion. And it's actually a study. I'm going to do a study on Māori television where I work. Just being Māori, growing up in full immersion Māori education system, there wasn't anything in terms of Māori media beyond high school. And it's not just for kids, Māori kids in immersion, but just for anyone who wants to get into Māori broadcasting, radio, television, like podcasts, now all the internet stuff. So I noticed that there wasn't a pathway beyond high school for Māori kids. That's what my PhD is going to look at, to develop a tertiary course for young Māori kids who want to get into any sort of media. I know it's a study on Māori television, but we're kind of shifting away from TV and coming more into the online space. So I'll just look at that and help to create something for the next generation of broadcasters to come through, bro.
Oh, bro, that's mean. So obviously now you're known a bit for all these funny fucking videos that are coming out. Where are these coming from, bro?
Yeah, so like it's all coming within this PhD space. Like I haven't even started my PhD yet. I've gone and enrolled and stuff. I haven't done too much, but I wanted to test because I'll eventually be preaching all this stuff. This is how we should be. Māori should navigate this online space or broadcasting in general. So I was like, actually, I need to start practicing what I preach. So I had 2 New Year's resolutions, bro. The first was to learn to make and edit little videos. So that was one of my New Year's resolutions, was to edit videos. And the second was to create a bit of a profile. And I wanted to hit 2,000 Instagram followers by the end of this year. And so I remember I was on maybe 1,100 followers on Instagram. And about Jan 6, I did my first post, like TikTok, Instagram post. And it's kind of just blowing up like more than...
You're in like the 7s now, eh?
8s I think now, bro. Yeah. And every day
that's crazy.
I get a few hundred new followers. So it's It's blowing up, bro.
Did you sort of like plan to? We just talked about it there, but like, did you plan to sort of be like the funny sort of persona? Like, did you plan for it to be like that, or did it just sort of happen?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, what I initially wanted to do, bro, was create like little skits. I see like a lot of Maori content creators. They make like little skits that are very relatable to their audience, and that's what I wanted to do. I'm like, oh yeah, I have a pretty unique upbringing, and I know what a kura kid or a Maori kid would be able to relate to.
Yep.
So I started to make like little skits, but it was more the stories that took off, not just sitting in the truck.
Yeah.
That's what everyone kind of seemed to like, bro. So I've just been creating a bit of a mixture of skits and stories, yeah. And yeah, honestly, there was no plan for it to be this big. I didn't really want to. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I had no plan.
Bro, the ones about OT crack me up, man.
Yeah. Well, and that's just us, bro. Like, that's where a lot of the jokes come from, is that OT and I grew up together. We knew each other ever since we were kids, bro. Like, we're just mates growing up. Like, there's that saying, you can choose your family. Oh, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Well, it wasn't the case for me, bro. Our mums, they were best mates, so we were forced to hang out as kids. Nah, but yeah, so we hung out as kids, bro, and like, yeah, just inseparable during high school. And then he was signed with the Blues up here, and he was like, bro, can I move in with you? And yeah, we've just been living together, and he's a good sport, bro. He's got like a big profile, but he lets me like roast him publicly pretty much.
Yeah.
Even when I'm roasting him, bro, I'll make a video. He'll like, oh yeah, I'll video you, bro, and like he'll give me ideas. So
yeah.
Nah, he's a good dude, bro.
So you just talked about that that video Jan 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was your first video? That's the one that blew up?
Yeah, that was the first TikTok that I made, bro. And the first one that kind of blew up was the hat story, the blue hat. Like the one, say, someone was walking past with a blue hat. So I thought I'd jump in, and like the punchline, people assumed it would be I would help the fellow with the blue hat, but I jump in and help jump that fella. That kind of went off. They got about 100,000 views on TikTok. But then a couple days later, bro, like that, because they got a good response of just me sitting in the truck and telling a story. I was like, oh nah, I got this really good story, and that was the Casper one.
Yeah.
So I jumped back in the truck, bro, and then it's like, I don't really understand the TikTok algorithm. Like, I don't think anyone does, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's real. Like for the first 7 hours, the video didn't do too well. So I was like, oh no, this one's low key flopped. I went to sleep, bro, and then I woke up the next morning and I just had like hundreds and thousands of like notifications on like all different platforms, bro. And that really launched it, bro. Was the Casper story. And like I initially posted on TikTok, and when it blew up there, I was like, oh yeah, I'll check it on Instagram as well. And then people were screen recording it. A couple of people chucked it on Facebook. I don't have a Twitter, but apparently it went on Twitter, and yeah, that kind of blew up. And yeah,
you talked about algorithms there, bro. Not many people talk about like how the algorithms in that work. Is that something you've sort of like you've tried to use?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm a real
smart, bro.
Nah, it's just like my ahua, bro. What I'm like is I like to know things.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing something, I become really obsessive, and I try to learn as much as I possibly can about it. So I've had a look and researched the TikTok algorithms and how it's supposed to work. And I've even tested at different times, posting at different times, using different hashtags. But yeah, I still haven't cracked it, bro. I still don't know how it actually works.
Yeah, they reckon the
honest.
TikTok one's the hardest one to deal with at the moment, eh? Like they know how the Insta, you know, they talk about consistent posting. Insta likes consistent posting. They don't like people who use fake follower apps, and you know, like that puts a bad mark next to your name. That sort of stuff. People start knowing if you're spending money on it, if you're buying ads, like businesses, obviously that puts a little tick next to your name. They reckon TikTok is just sort of it is what it is. Like
Bro,
one might just blow up, one might not.
Yeah, and like I'll post a video, bro, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a pretty average post, and it'll get like 100,000 views. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'll post a video that I'm like, yo, this is actually a funny video. And it'll only get like 20 or 30,000.
Strange world, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, TikTok's pretty hard to navigate.
Do you want to tell that Casper story for the people that haven't heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah, bro. So I grew up at this Māori school, Pākehā. I look, because my mum's Irish, bro. So I had the fair skin, blonde hair growing up. And yeah, he called, my favorite teacher, Papa Potaka, he was like quite a dark person, black hair. He used to call me Casper, just because Casper, the friendly ghost, was the thing back then, and he likened me to a ghost because of my features. Anyway, so he called me Casper right up until I left school at 17. I went over to Oz, played league for a year there. I came back and I had a bit of a tan. My hair was dark by then, bro. And I went back to school, and he was there to pick someone up. He wasn't teaching at the school at the time. And his hair just went all white, bro. He was pretty old by this time. His hair went all white, and like we kind of had an agreement that, oh nah, you can't call me Casper, bro. Like you're Casper anymore, and we kind of had a bit of an agreement. And from then on, like we'd see each other, and I'd call him Casper. And unfortunately, a few years later, he passed away. I went to his funeral, bro, and his son came up to me and he was like, man, do you remember my old man? He used to call you Casper all the time. And I just put my foot in it, bro. And I was like, he didn't know the context of my answer. And I shouldn't have said this answer anyway, but I was like, yeah, but he's Casper now. And, bro, and that's kind of the story that blew up. But what I haven't said and what people don't know is that so on the marae, bro, so we went to bury him. This was straight after we buried him, and then he was at the urupa, and then we went back onto the marae and we called the whānau pani, so the mourning family, back onto the marae, and then we did the hongi, and there were, bro, hundreds of people. He was a pretty, he was a good dude, bro, and there were hundreds of people that went to his funeral. And so we were on the home side, and that we were welcoming them back on. So we were doing the hongi. And so when he said it, like he was standing in front of me, we did our hongi. I was like, oh, do you remember my dad used to call you Casper? And we were still kind of talking, but he was like 2 or 3 people down. And like all my mates were next to me, and everyone was listening to our conversation because he was kind of like the main man of the funeral, bro. The son. Yeah. And he was, by the time I said he's Casper now, he was already 4 or 5 people down, bro, from me. And bro, he's quite a dark skinned fella too, and he just went pale as, and he just looked at me like, did he really say that? And my mates, bro, they almost died. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Sorry. They almost. Sorry. They like, bro. Yeah, my mates are like, nah, you didn't just say that. And because he was, he was kind of, he was the son of the person who passed away. He was kind of had to be around certain people. And I didn't see him again, bro. So I couldn't explain myself. And I didn't see him for about 2 years after that, bro. And straight up, it's like that, like, do you see those memes when you're out in the club and all of a sudden you just think about something stupid you've done and it just ruins your whole day, bro? Like, I went straight 2 years, bro. Like, I'll think about it in the shower and like just, without talking to him, and I didn't know what he thought of me. And then I spoke to him, bro. I spoke to him recently, and I explained it. I explained to him, and he laughed about it. We both laughed about it. And then when I recorded the story, I made sure to send it to him first to ask, bro, is this all right to post? I'm gonna chuck it up on my social media. And he was like, yeah, nah, go for it. And I just wanted to seek his approval and his whānau's approval, because it was a pretty touchy story, bro. But I was quite careful with how I delivered it. I didn't want to disrespect him or his whānau, and it blew up. And honestly, bro, like, calling someone Casper at their own funeral is pretty bad, but I haven't had any backlash from it, bro. Like, everyone's been positive response.
Wow, that's good, eh?
Yeah, like no death threats or nothing like that, bro. Everyone's been pretty cool with it. They kind of launched this whole TikTok thing, the old Casper story.
Would you say that's your best story? That you've told?
Well, I guess so, bro. But my favorite one would definitely have to be the James Cameron one. The one how I said that we went overseas to LA. We were performing kapa haka at this school called Muse, and James Cameron's kids were there. And we were doing kapa haka, and James Cameron, the person who directed Titanic and Avatar, he was there to pick his kids up, bro. He took them, he picked them up, and he saw our performance. He was like, you fellas should come to my mansion out in Malibu. And we were like young Māori kids, bro. Like, for some of us, it was our first time overseas. And he took us there. He took us to his house, and it was like real life MTV Cribs, bro. It was like, he had a basketball court. He had all these flash cars, swimming pool, tennis court. All we had to do, bro, was perform like a 20-minute kapa haka bracket for him, which was like a piece of piss for us, bro. Like, Māori kids, that's what we had to do our whole lives. And like, he had a chef there, bro, and I think his chef was like someone like Jamie Foxx's old chef and stuff. Like, It was crazy. And he said, oh yeah, Britney Spears used to live next door to me, just up the road. Like, not Jamie Oliver, who's that? British chef, bro?
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay, like, just lives up the road. And he was just telling us, and they're like, Professor McGonagall from Harry Potter was at the party. Like, bro, it was just crazy. And he was like, oh yeah, this is my personal chef. Ask him whatever you want for dinner, he'll cook it for you. Yeah, bro, it was like a crazy ass. And he showed us Avatar, and he reckons, like, he had a full cinema at his house, and he showed us this like 8-minute snippet of Avatar, and he reckons you're the first people in the world to see it. This was back in 2008, bro. And like, we were just blown away. Like, it's a crazy story, and it sounds fake, but like, it's 100% true, bro. We even broke his hammock too. Like, my bro and his older brother Rai, they both sat on the hammock at the same time, and it was swinging, and bro, they broke the hammock. And then like, we tried to cover it up by like jamming the nail back in the thing. And like, bro, the next person who would have sat on it would have thought they broke the hammock, bro. Yeah, so like, crazy story. And like, all my stories are real, bro. all
Yeah, that's mean.
my stories I retell, except for the blue hat one.
That'd be, I was gonna say.
Yeah, nah, I didn't do that one. I made that one up, bro. But yeah, all my stories are based on like true events, and I like ever since I started like telling more stories, people will message me and be like, "Bro, you should retell this story," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's actually a good one."
Yeah.
And like a lot of people like give me good ideas of what to say and how to say it.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a gift, bro. Like, it's not, storytelling's an art, I reckon. Like, it's not easy to do, and so you're pretty literate, eh? Like, you for someone that hasn't spoken much English, you speak better English than me.
Yeah, well, bro, I guess that comes back to that like photographic memory type thing. I started learning at 13, bro, and by the time on my 19th birthday, well, when I was 18, I was interviewed to be a translator at Māori television, translate the news from Māori to English. By the time I started on my 19th birthday, so it took me 6 years for my facility or command of the English language to get to that of national broadcast. And you talk about like you're pretty literate. It's like it's my job, bro. Like I kind of have to know words in both English and Māori. And like every single day for the last 6 years, I've looked at a dictionary because I've had to translate a new word or even develop a new word. There's, especially in news, bro, every single day there's something different. There's like a different gadget or a different town or a different something that you have to translate. And every single day I'm kind of training that side of my brain.
Mean, bro. Mean.
But yeah, I still get flack for bro for my native my Hori accent. But Oatsy's worse, bro. Oats, like anyone who knows Oatsy's English, he's cabbage.
Do you watch any? Do you like watch the Super? Do you have a favorite team, or obviously Oatsy's with the Blues?
Yeah.
Please don't tell me he's your favorite player.
No, I won't say that. Because ever since Oatsy, ever since Nehe started playing Super, bro, I really kind of got into it and started following that. Because Nehe also grew up in Palmy and he was like in the touch and the Māori community. I know everyone probably says this, but he's also my cousin from back up the coast in Tokomaru Bay. So yeah, I looked up to him growing up, and once he cracked Super, I was like, yo, that's me. I'm gonna follow the Canes. And then Oatsy signed with the Canes, bro. Like that. I did a full kit Friday Hurricanes edition a couple weeks back. The shirt I wore, bro, was Oatsy's first Hurricane shirt. He made like an under-17s camp with the Canes, and he gave me his shirt, and I've kept it ever since. And yeah, bro, since then, like he's Oatsy played with the Canes, and then so I supported them too. And then since his move to the Blues, bro, it's I've kind of followed them, and I've gotten to know a few of the boys. Oatsy's he's pretty relaxed, bro. Like this one time he invited me, he was like, oh, bro, the Blues boys are having a party. This was last year or the year before. He's like, oh, you should come down. And bro, there was this party somewhere, and I got there and I realized I was the only non-Blues player there, bro, and it was their Mad Monday. What the hell am I doing here? But nah, Oatsy's like pretty cool like that, bro. He'll let me tag along to like things they do. And
yeah, that's me.
And I've kind of met a few of the boys.
So your favorite player?
Oatsy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to watch him, bro. He I like that how he dictates the pace of a game. He's really
controls
his older brother. Yeah, I spoke to his older brother about it, and it's like he said it's class. You can't really coach the ability to have time with the ball. And I guess like Dan Carter has that same ahua as well. But that's what I like about OT, his ability to just be cool as a cucumber, even though all these stresses on him. But I also like watching TJ Whaiane and the Hoiho. Shout out to the Hoiho Suok. So like they got a pretty good thing going on, the inside backs, like half back, first five, second five, TJ and Reeks at centre. Like I think what's been really good for them, and why I like to watch them, is because they're boys off the field as well. And like, yeah, it's a shame that the season was cut short or has been put on hold, because they're really kind of coming into.
Bro, I was gonna say that. Do you reckon has OT said anything about that? Like, are they a bit gutted, bro? Because they were on a bit of a roll, eh?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, like
COVID.
To do well after so long of not doing too good, bro. And then to go back to kind of find some form, almost hit the top of the table, and just for it to be just scrapped. I'm not too sure what they're doing, to be honest. But
same.
yeah, no doubt they were gutted. And I think what it is, bro, it's like winning's fun, eh? Like, especially after a few seasons of not doing so well, and then you start winning and you start enjoying yourself, and everything kind of clicks. And for that just to be put on hold, it's probably pretty guttering for them.
Yeah, hard. Netflix, bro, you hitting any Netflix at the moment? What are you watching?
Yeah, actually, bro, I'm really into, like, I'm really fascinated with like drugs, bro, and like drug cartels and stuff like that.
Bro, I'm in the same sort of thing at the moment.
Like any drug series or drug movie, bro, that's me. But I've been watching that Ozark series.
Oh yeah, I just started that.
It's pretty popular. It's quite slow, but it's really fascinating, bro. For me, like, he's what is it, money laundering, or like he cleans money.
Yeah.
And I just, because I watch so much of it, I just like to learn.
Yeah.
I have a real like I said before, I have quite an addictive personality, bro. If I get into something, I'll kind of like become obsessive and like just learn about it.
Have you watched Queen of the South?
Nah, Queen of the South.
Oh, bro. Right.
Bro, I'm writing it down.
I'm not gonna say any more, bro. And you're gonna.
What is it? A series?
You're gonna thank me. Yeah. It's basically just about this this girl who works on the corner of a road, and her what do you call it? Her journey to the top of running a Mexican drug cartel, bro.
True.
Bro, that's mean.
And is it based on a true story?
I don't. I don't know. Nah, maybe. But it's probably happening somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, now I'll make sure to check it out.
Yeah, watch it, bro. I got a few questions here that you got chucked from a couple people.
Yeah.
On the story, first one from someone was ask him about lunchtime league at Kura.
Oh yeah, lunchtime league at Kura, bro. So we moved to this new school. We've moved out the building of our school, or like the property. We moved 9 times through my 17 years there, and we eventually made it to our final school. But the grass hadn't grown yet, so we had to play rugby league on the concrete, bro. And like, we weren't allowed to play league. But so we'd play running touch, but when the teacher wasn't looking, we'd turn and play, like full on tackle league on the concrete, bro. And there's like, the rule was if you wanted to play, you weren't allowed to cry, because like once someone cries, we weren't allowed
to play.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty ruthless. And like we went to a small school, so like there would probably be maybe 15 of us playing, ranging from age 8 to 18. So it was stupid, bro. It was pretty stupid. But there's some pretty good players that come out of that concrete rugby league. A couple signed a couple NRL clubs.
Crazy.
Yeah, bro, yeah.
Tutoa or Manukura?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So I went to Tutoa. I went to Manatamariki, but from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then from 2:30 to the end of Arvo training, I attended Tutoa in my last year of high school. So I got to play a bit of sport there. Yeah, so I'm gonna. My mum is also like the head of academics at Manukura, so so nah, they're both cool schools, bro. Multi success, sporting success, and also academic success.
Yeah. Okay. This is probably why is your nickname Rax?
Rax, nah.
Kenny.
Kenny.
Yeah, some Kenny someone.
Kenny, I met the bro while over in Para.
Oh, yeah.
With the other Maldives over there.
Your go-to coffee.
Go-to coffee, bro. Otzi is a coffee wizard, bro. He's got this coffee machine.
Yeah.
And like every morning, like at about 7 o'clock, we'll both come out here and like he'll just make. I've never drinking coffee until he started making coffee, and I don't drink any other coffee. So whatever he makes for me, bro, with his like little machine thing he has, I think it's like almond milk and coffee. I think that's it. Yeah, he's a wizard, bro. He's pretty good. Yeah, unreal coffee.
Almond milk.
It's unsweetened almond milk and coffee. I don't know what you call that, but that's what we have every morning.
Almost
training.
Vegan.
Yeah. We try. I try to stay off dairy, bro.
Oh yeah. This last one is 3 lads you know will be by your side when you're into day 3 of a bender.
Not oats. Nah. Nah, I gotta give a shout out to the hoi ho suo. Oh, the three hoi hos. Suok to Plank and Oatsy. Yeah, nah. Oats, Chauncey Edwardson and Sam Knock, the boys. Yeah.
Mean, bro. Oh, well, we'll wrap it up, bro. Just want to say thank you. Appreciate your time, bro. Jumping on, sharing a couple of stories. We'll clip this up and chuck it up, and we'll throw a few videos on the gram and that. Just a couple little snippets of this one. Do you just want to quickly plug yourself where everyone can find you and everything?
Yeah, bro. So I'm on TikTok and Instagram, just Teao_P on Insta. So TEAO_P. Or TikTok, it's Teao.P. So TEAO.P. And that's me.
Awesome, bro. Well, all the best with everything carrying on, and then I'll make sure I send you down a bit of kits away in your videos, eh?
Cheer, brother. Yeah, I'll make sure to make some new vids.
That hat, eh?
Yeah, that hat. Send me that hat, bro. Send me that hat.
All right, mean brother.
Cheer, brother.
Later.